Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It's Chrissy Sawyer here. Let's just do a quick general energy grab. There is a lot happening. There's nothing particularly I want to focus on because they're quite big themes. And I just want to see what we can pull out of a general collective system. So as usual, take what lands with you, leave what doesn't. Take what lands with you and leave what doesn't. Follow your own rhythm. Your body knows. Okay, so the story is in the body at a cellular level. We're talking about cellular memory here. And there's quite a lot of South Node activity. You may have had a rather eventful last 10 days. Coming to the end of Scorpio season, and what's at the end of a scorpion, but the sting in the tail. I'm getting the word legacy. It's like ancestral legacy, the clearing away of ancestral legacy. Here it is. When we talk about just be yourself and be who you came here to be, how can we truly know that with so much ancestral and systemic programming already instilled within us, already inflicted upon us? And it's a lot of it will be in our blind side. But again, when we come back to the body knows how this feels. So this is about diligence. It's about response. It's interesting because I pulled a sentence before we started. Okay. So it's about a diligent response from who you know yourself to be, as opposed to from who your parents expect you to be, which comes from who their parents expected them to be, and on backwards we go. But moving forwards, this is easy to say, isn't it? To swim against the grain is to go against ancestors, is to go against social expectation, is to go against the comfort of friends and family and your broader collective, is to allow them to see you in a different way. And I've been getting the sentence for about a week now of our fear is in our fierce. And do we have an inherent fear of our own ferocity? And what is ferocity? Speaking from the perspective of the archetypal feminine. And is she still being tamed within us? Doesn't matter how you identify from a gender point of view. It could be a man watching this. And it's going to take some ferocity. As we move through this end of the year into 2022, into a high level of sensitivity and making choices and reaching into extremes to come into the heart in a more balanced way, basically, is the theme of 2022. And if I've made that sound a bit light, it's going to be tricky. It's going to call for some ferocity, but coming from a really adult place. What else for this story, please? You want to come out? So what I'm getting from this card is the light is coming in on that 3710-1. So that's fusing the new blueprint. Do you remember a while ago I was talking about one of my morning pieces of work gave me the insight that straight off the top of my head, I've rebuilt 16 blueprints that I didn't have from my parents or their parents. So I've rebuilt them in a way that sits more naturally with me, that within which I don't have to adapt or filter or sanitize a more polite or courteous message. I can just be myself. So this literally could come in as a waking thought, an aha moment, a blinding piece of insight. And what happens when you take your focus to that? What happens when you take your attention to that and really move into that? Well, first it might feel strange and a bit exotic and a bit, scrunching up of the eyebrows, because the subconscious won't yet know it. We're talking about new blueprints here, new ways of, new wiring diagrams, which lead to new methods of behavior, which are going to get you more into your truth, your authenticity. Underlying energy, look at this. Okay, right, okay. So that's coming in with that, and this is screaming Aquarius. And that might now become, can I choose myself? Can I choose my own self? So can I look at the old wiring diagram based on methods of programming? Can I go to a blank sheet of paper and go, actually, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be for the next 5 years? What kind of person do I want to be? And that's going to involve some willful disappointment. You've heard me talk about this before. Willful disappointment. It's going to call into question your connections. We've got Venus going retrograde, and that's going to ask you a question about every relationship in your body. So relationship to self, relationship to the physical world, relationship to other people. And it's really going to ask, does this relationship, well, how does this relationship bless you? Would be a broader question. Because at the moment, what's happening in these spirals of manifestation is groups of people are breaking up. I'm seeing it an awful lot. Groups of people who've been hanging together for a while have done so much internal work, or one of them has, or two of them have, whatever. It's going to upset that systemic balance, and it needs to. It needs to. And so there'll be some amount of letting go and stepping into an unlit path, an as yet unlit path, but based on this feeling. Okay. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right. So, yeah, okay. So let's have a look at which archetypes are going to be challenged, changed, uplifted in this time. Okay. Underlying card, liberator, self-liberation. I liberate myself from this, whatever this is in your life. Virgin. There is a question about purity. Right, yeah, let's talk into this. There's a question about purity and what the meaning of purity really is. Is it the kind of purity that refers to authenticity? Is it the kind of purity that refers to religious programming? Say the right thing, do the right thing, do no harm. But if we're harming ourselves in that, the shadow attribute of the Virgin is fear of intimate union. So let's begin with the self. Intimate union with the self is redressing the balance. It's the word redeeming, redemption of a part of us that may have been squashed, wounded, violated. And so what is purity in that field? Oh, I dream of this day. I dream of this day when, so I'm not really getting teacher per se in this. So if we go with fear of intimate union, and what I'm feeling into is a space that gets held between people where those, let's just say 2 people, can bring all of themselves. And this is what Venus is going to ask questions about. Which part of you do you choose to or feel you have to hide in the presence of others? And the teacher energy comes in the sharing of wisdom, the owning of triggers. So let's say, keep it simple, just between 2 people, but it can work in a group environment. And somebody says something that in the old paradigm is mean, rude, hurtful. We can stay in the old paradigm, go back and forth on that. You said this, you said that. It's like volley and nobody gets anywhere. Nothing is learned, nothing gets uplifted. But if you move into your inner sage, and I can feel that within me, take ownership, because it's impossible to get triggered by something that isn't already within you at a cellular level, that doesn't already hold that doing. It's in you, okay? And if that harp string gets plucked by another in what seems like a vicious attack or a mean comment or it's a gift. And imagine a world where we can have conversations, where we can own our stuff without the other coming in to fix and solve and mend. Collectively, generally, that tends to be what happens. The adapted child, which is still very prevalent on the planet, wants to make everything okay for everybody else. Take care of this. Take care of this first. When you can make it okay for this, it will just start showing up in the world. Okay, so this is about communicating knowledge. I know I'm feeling something in this. I hear what you said to me. That's going to feel vulnerable. But there's great strength in that vulnerability. There's great purity in that vulnerability. It's a really true feeling. So Aquarius wants us to move forward. Aquarius is forward thinking, it's future thinking. And what does a futuristic relationship look like? I can't answer that for you. I can answer that for me. It actually looks more like a facilitative space. Wow, so that's coming in to get changed, uplifted. That's interesting. So we've got 3 others. Oh, wow. The story just got bigger. So we've got 3 others. Let's just see what these bring in. And it's interesting that the student is coming in with the teacher. The ability to listen and learn back and forth. No one has hierarchical power. Okay, that's patriarchy. It's what am I here to learn? Soul growth. It's just soul growth. Soul is just here for the experience. Student, avenger, servant. And the underlying card is thief. And the thief wants to take your experience and mend it. Not because they're bad, because that's how they're trained. I call it drama custody. And then it all gets entangled and enmeshed, and you can't see yourself in that. You just get drawn in. I'm not going to talk into these cards, but it is that two-way relationship. Avenger talks about the desire to balance the scales of justice. And maybe what's fair is that both people are heard. Both people use eyes, ears, and mouth in proportion. So we've got a lot of communication on the table, communication with self, then how that's going to roll out. And can I choose my own mood? Can I choose my own self from an authentic blueprint? And dare I bring that forward? So we've got a ton of activity. Avoiding astrology because it's pretty busy at the moment. And it's going to be asking us these ferocious questions, these Uranian, higher-minded questions. How can we elevate? Okay, talk to us about these themes, please. Make it plain and explosive. Yes, absolutely. Wow. Wouldn't that be a thing? Wouldn't that be a thing? In the face of conflict, if we can get here. Can I choose my own mood? Yes. Self-governance. Poised. How do you see yourself? If you give yourself the word poised and let it permeate your field, what happens? If you move with the word poised, how does that move your body? Because poised is a sound with structure, with shape, with resonance. Words are wishes and curses. Imagine that, a new life free from the energy of feeling orphaned. Nobody gets us. Nobody gets you. Who can fully meet you? Yeah, comes back to self. Can you fully meet you? Can you fully meet you? This is coming in on the energy of 5, which is all about change. Underlying energy, look, back to the conversation of exchanging gifts. Creating an environment that's safe and strong enough to hold you fully in all shades of yourself. Our fear is in our fierce. The word fear is in the word fierce. Okay, let's go to the Lantern Oracle. What further wisdom can we glean from this current energy? The Liberator, let's call it the Liberator. How can we choose our own mood? How can we choose our own mood? These cards are mean. They don't give easily. Patience. I'm choosing my mood. Okay. Oh, lovely. Yeah. Okay. To birth new relationships, we've got to let go of expectations. Expectations can only be formed using the subconscious. That's the manual. That's everything you've learned so far. Yeah, we're done with that. You learn that in the Piscean age. We're moving into, and Aquarius is here. I was teaching myself about the Aquarian age and really studying the energy and the form, and it's been here since the middle of the 20th century. Just through my eyes, you might see it differently. Since the technological boom between the world wars, we went ballistic from a technology point of view. Yeah, we're probably not using it for the highest good because we're weaponizing most of what we know and inventing things like Teflon, which creates something that the liver can never break down, yada, yada. But it's a wheel, the expectations of others and self. This is very mercurial. Who was I talking to? I don't even know if it was a 3D conversation. It might have been a theta state conversation with somebody who kind of had it all in reality, had it all, but the mind was like, still not good enough, still not good enough, do more, do better, work harder, work hard, work harder. So that internal narrative can prevent us from rising up into purity, stream of consciousness, the innocent child. I haven't seen the child here. So wishful expectations. Acknowledge the smoke and mirrors in your life for what they truly are. Okay, right. I'm going to share a sentence with you that's been in my field for about 2 weeks. And it goes like this. If it looks like a turd and it smells like a turd, call it what it is. And what this does is this collapses a whole system of making it okay for you to wound me, making it okay for me to look after you before I look after myself, making it okay that I am the last priority. Okay. That doesn't happen when you call the smoke and mirrors. You do that by investigating rather than judging and criticizing. That's just going into parent because you feel threatened. So you go up the system into parent, which forces those around you into child until one comes into adult, and then gravity does the work. Wishful expectations, letting go. Don't know what we're building yet. But what I'm long-term projecting into is a world where we can just talk with one another, not with one another. That's interesting. What was that like for you? I'm going to scribble over this card. Forgiveness is, for me, coming from a religious paradigm where there is a right and a wrong, and I don't believe in that. That's man-made morality. But how about understanding? Understanding how, understanding, what am I trying to say? How our wounds block our heart. The heart is a powerful light generator rather than the love and light and unicorns. Powerful love generator, powerful light generator. The light to see, the light to reflect somebody back to themselves. Beautiful. Thank you, Lantern Oracle. You are worth the wait. What's the underlying energy? 3710-1 again. Transitions, bringing in those new codings. Look at how beautiful this is. Oh, I don't care what you think. I'm going my way. And it's gentle, but it's powerful. That's a kind of ferocity. I don't care what you think, I'm going my way. Oh, I love that. My heart is fizzing with that. I need glasses. You have all of the inner resources you need. You do, you had them, you brought them in with you to cross whatever bridges arise on your path. Sometimes you just got to sit with the shadow. You know, this Scorpio season has been the most profound I've ever experienced. That in itself is a sign of Aquarian energy coming in. Yeah, I had this conversation with people who meditate, and I've been meditating for, I don't know, 20, 25 years. And the self-healing work I used to do all that time ago was like ADSL dial-up. Now it's like a 6-lane highway. It's just super fast broadband. Don't need to meditate. Takes like 5 minutes to do what it used to take 4 days to do. This is Aquarian energy coming up. It's access to more of the future mind, the higher mind. Make those transitions, come from a different place. Some beautiful challenges in here. I hope I'm not making it too fluffy and love and light, because it's going to be challenging. If you guys want to get into your authenticity and be fierce in that. Hello. What other messages? Let's start wrapping this up now, please. Let's go guidance messages. What guidance messages can we have? Yeah. Sit with the shadow. Understand it. Unravel it. Feel into it and feel where you want to run and hide and avoid. Natural, natural, natural. Take ownership. I think we've got about a week left of Scorpio season before we transition into Sag, and then we've got the first eclipse coming in Sag. Check me. I learn these dates. I even write them down, and then 10 hours later they've gone. Yeah. Co-create. For me, what this is talking about is working with your inner self. We sometimes call this guides, spirit. Whatever word works for you is fine. And so sitting in the shadow can be an internal conversation, you know, as if you were supporting your best friend, as if you were parenting your child, whatever energy wants healing in your system or is ready to be uplifted. I don't want to make the assumption, you know, that we're all broken and wounded, but we are doing a colossal amount of karmic clearing, colossal. So co-create, grab a journal. I'm drawing like mad at the moment. I'm journaling. I haven't journaled for ages. I'm learning and learning. Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Right. Thank you. Right. I just want to speak into something that's happening real time. Pardon the pun. Time has gone wonky, like really wonky. I almost didn't show up for a client the other day. So convinced was I that it was one day when it wasn't. It was a different day. I'm on the phone to a friend of mine, and her friend walks in and says, "Are you ready?" And she went, "Oh shit, I forgot." Time has gone wonky. Right. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because it might be difficult to get consistency and pace in your learning and your breakthrough and your growth. So it might feel like there's a couple of days where it all comes piling in. And there's a couple of days that just feel, what the hell's happening? Well, where did my journey go? Go with it. Use the time to unpack the download so that long term, you go the distance. It's not about running at 70 miles an hour from now to eternity. It's about following your own rhythm. You may want to fall asleep at 6 o'clock in the evening. Do it. Energy is inconsistent. The pace is inconsistent. Something is happening with time and it's gone wonky. Client sessions are lasting like 10 minutes and suddenly we're at the end of the hour. I'm like, where did that go? Time has gone wonky. Days out of alignment, time out of alignment. And I know clocks have gone forwards and backwards, but it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. Go the distance. Okay, what have we picked up there? Go the distance. All right. Let's have a couple of closing cards, please, from Soulful Woman. A couple of closing cards. Messages for the collective, please. Oh, for goodness sake. All right. I just want to bring in the underlying card from the previous deck is Yang, okay? So fire energy. Fire energy has to be spent or it builds up and it's not going to feel good having all that fire in the body when we're not creating and moving. The first card, right? Okay. I'm just saying, follow your own rhythm. So this could be as simple as singing loudly. That's allowing fire to come up through the throat and out as sound. Singing loudly with no expectation, no ego. Doesn't matter what it sounds like. It's your song. Fire can be dancing. Fire can be banging the bejesus out of a drum and waking the whole street up. Okay, move the fire through the body. Listen to the body. Try it out as an experiment. Next time you're chatting with somebody, be with them in the mind, be with you in the body, the whole body. And just notice, witness, witness, witness. Oh, that's interesting. You said that word. My left arm started twitching. Whatever, I don't want to put anything on your path, but notice. Because when we strip all these old blueprints away, what we're going to have left is, is ourself, free to create how we want. New bunch of crayons, blank canvas. So listen to the body, embrace the body. Being receptive to your own needs, that's what that's about, listening. Can that be the end game? I don't think we fully understand what this means yet. We're learning. My true worth is intrinsic and shines from my inner being, like a sacred jewel of love and compassion. Well, it shines like many things. It shines like many things. If you were to draw yourself a palette, you know, like a painting palette with the thumb hole, shape like that. And if you were to put splodges of colour onto your palette, and every colour represented an aspect of your natural personality, the part that you had to squash in school so that you could be with your peers, the part that you had to squash to get parents' approval, the part that you squashed to get the job, to get the salary, The wild palette. Oh, I love that. I'm in. Yeah, I'm having that. The wild palette. What would it look like? What would it look like? How many colours? What kind of colours? Would you make new colours? The wild palette. That's it. I'm done. Do you want a cheeky abundance card? Let's go. This is the cheekiest deck I own. Okay, let's have some cheeky please and wrap this message up. You know, I recently said life is speeding up. My life is speeding up. I just got super busy. So I might be, my presence might be a bit sporadic. Bear with me. The final message for the collective, please. Thank you. It's like weaving ourselves back into the flower of life, the original blueprint. There's nothing from a past life that can't be addressed in the current. It's like I often say with the law of polarity, there are no two opposites that cannot be reconciled. This is soul forge work, bringing them together, holding the resistance and the tension of cognitive dissonance to bring them together until boop, new blueprint. Yeah. Yes. If you crocheted yourself from scratch, what would you look like? Beautiful. Thank you guys for being here. It's a joy as usual. Enjoy these times. They're very challenging, and there is an awful lot of learning that's there for us. So play, choose your own mood, and create your wild palette. I'm gone. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.